Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Um, my name is Dr. Tash, and on my channel I talk about medicine, healing, and motivation. Alright, so if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. My name is Natasha. I am a medical doctor. I'm also a spiritual healer. And I want to talk about topics on my channel that resonate with me, topics that can help the other person who's going through what we call a spiritual awakening, to heal, all right, or to realize things about themselves, all right. And I will not only touch on topics that are from the African context, but I will also touch on topics, right, that are more of a universal concept, or also drawing from other races, right? Because I believe that in spirit, we are one, all right. How we experience the divine, or how we experience the energy of God, how we get there can be different. But I believe that it is all drawing from the same energy. And we basically doing different things, but towards the same goal. In actual fact, there is no difference between me and the Indian guy next door, or the Chinese right overseas. There's no difference, right? Because spirit is one. All right, so welcome back to my channel. Today on Life is Spiritual, we are going to be talking about the rising of the Kundalini energy. I have been getting some inquiries of how to contact me. Do I have a TikTok page? Do I have a Facebook page? No, I don't. I don't have a Facebook page. I don't have a TikTok page. I don't believe that my ancestors want me to go that route. So essentially, I have a YouTube channel, and I also have an Instagram page. All right, that has some contact details of how one can contact me, right? If you are looking for me. And yeah, that's that. So today on Life is Spiritual, we're going to be talking about the Kundalini energy. All right, what is the Kundalini energy? But first and foremost, I'd like us to understand that we are spirit. We are all spiritual beings having a physical experience. And what is spirit? Spirit is essentially energy. So we are energy beings. All right. So the Kundalini energy is an energy that everyone is born with, is an energy that we all come into this world with. Why? Because we are all from the divine, right? We are all from the creator. So it's a dormant energy. What does that mean? It means that this energy lays low within everyone. And it is our job coming into this world to try and awaken this energy. What is the point of awakening this energy? The point of awakening the energy is to help the soul to travel. Because in this lifetime, we are not permanent. There's somewhere where we are all trying to go. All right. I've been reading a very interesting book, all right, about the journey of the soul, and how the soul has, different journeys and some of the stages, all right, that the soul travels, right, throughout its lifetime. um so the basic point of awakening the Kundalini energy is to help yourself to ascend. We are all ascending, ascension, right? We are all ascending towards the divine. But the journey of ascension is not easy. And that is why everyone could be born with this energy, but it's only a few that are going to get to experience the enlightenment, or get to the stage of enlightenment, and get to the state of higher consciousness. The reality of the matter is that we were born into a world. The matrix of this world and the focus of this world is more money centric, is more egocentric. So we are more about gratifying, we're more about gratifying the ego than actually working on the soul, right? Which is the actual journey. So the matrix of this world wants to get us stuck, okay, into doing the normal thing, right? Going to work, getting paid a salary, acquiring a house, buying a car, the fancy clothes, acquiring the degrees. That's all part of the matrix. But in actual fact, the real journey is the journey of what? Of the soul, which is where a lot of people don't get to, right? Because our focus has been diverted, all right? Because we're focused on all these other things, right? Instead of focusing on the spiritual growth. And it is only when we die that we get to actually realize the truth. It is only when we die that the movie finishes, right? It is only when we die that the veil starts to lift for many, where they get to see the truth for what it really is. So this is why it's important to try to awaken the Kundalini energy within this lifetime. All right, so we were talking about the Kundalini energy. What is the Kundalini energy? The Kundalini energy stems from a Hindu concept, right? Hinduism. It actually comes from the yogis, all right? People who practiced yoga, who were more associated with Hinduism, all right? And it is best described as the energy that lives dormantly, meaning that it's not active. It lives at the base of the spine. They also talk about it as the divine energy, or the divine feminine energy that lays dormant within oneself. It is also talked about as the snake energy, all right, that moves up the base of the spine, the serpent energy. For me, I've got a very big connection, all right, with this concept. I am genetically connected, all right, to the Hindus, all right, as on my father's side of the family, my ancestors and forefathers were of Indian descent. All right, so I feel that it is now my job in this lifetime to learn, all right, from different aspects of consciousness and different aspects of the world, because all of those bloodlines essentially, right, are flowing through me. So let's talk about the different stages of the Kundalini energy awakening, because this is a process. And it is not an easy process. Let me just say that it's not an easy process, but it is a process. And there are different stages that one goes through when on this awakening. So the first stage is the preparatory stage. This is a time in which you are going to be preparing, right, the body, preparing the mind, preparing the soul, for some type of transitioning and awakening. And how does this happen? It happens through engaging yourself in spiritual practices. All right, so this is the time when you are engaging in spiritual practices, whether you believe in meditation, whether you believe in doing yoga, whether you believe in religiously praying, whether you believe in chanting. All right, so this is a time now where you are trying to engage, all right, your spirit and using spiritual practices to prepare, all right, the mind, all right, the body and the soul. In this phase, you could, be doing your chakra healing. And there's different ways to do this, or depending on the spiritual practice, right, that you might find yourself in. And I hope to talk about chakra healing, all right, in the next coming videos. So now we're in preparatory stage. We're getting the body and the mind, the soul, all right, ready for something. In the African religious context, right, this is a period of time where you might find yourself now attending more cleansings, you're visiting more water baths, you're connecting with nature, right? You are going to the mountains, right? Basically trying to engage yourself, right, with the earth and the elements of the earth. The preparatory phase, this is a time where you're going through a lot of purging, you're going through a lot of detoxification, that's physically and emotionally. So you're going through a time in your life where the things that you thought were important don't become important. Purging yourself off of things that you used to do. Like if you were a social media person, right? In this phase of awakening, you're going to find yourself not really being that active on social media. If you were an Instagram han, you're going to find yourself not really being, right, that person, right, that used to post regularly. If you were someone who's constantly, used to hanging around a lot of people every weekend, right, those things no longer become interesting to you, right? Now you become more of a loner, a lone wolf, and you thrive now in solitude. This is part of the purging phase. That relationship that you thought was good for you, all right, it ends. It no longer, serves its purpose, all right? You may detach yourself from a lot of friends and just people, family, toxic family members in general. This is all part of the purging phase. So this happens on a physical level, right? What also happens on a physical level is detoxification. All right, the universe is going to help you to detoxify in terms of what? Your body, right? Because remember, we are preparing the body essentially, all right? Means outside and inside. Detoxifying, you're going to literally purge. Okay, this is why in the African spiritual religion, whether you are an indigenous prophet or you are a sangoma, you go through a lot of purging. This is where upalaza, hopalaza, right, becomes essential. And when you ask, what is the significance of this? They will tell you that, no, ubula lefatla, which basically means you are opening your third eye, essentially. So purging becomes extremely important. All right, as I mentioned, you're going to go through a lot of cleansings. This is where water cleansings become essential. We cannot tap right into spirituality without going through a cleanse. Right, because as I mentioned before, the divine operates with cleanliness. Right, cleanliness is next to godliness. So we have to cleanse. Cleansing, cleansing, cleansing. This is why utloya kometsing, right? A lot of the time. Because the purpose is to keep yourself clean. Right? Because keeping yourself clean and the process of detoxification is essential. I know there are other different methods of detoxifying. You could use natural substances to detoxify your body. All right. So there's different methods in killing a cat, but essentially cleansing and detoxification, all right, are part of the initial stage, which is the preparatory stage. This is the initial stage of consciousness. And when you are in this stage, right, you start becoming conscious to things that never bothered you before. For example, the foods that you used to eat, you start becoming highly conscious of what it is that you are consuming. And this is important, all right, because within this chakra healing the chakras, there are certain foods, all right, that are good for you, and there are foods that you should avoid. All right, for example, excessive meat eating is a no-no, right? When you are trying to awaken your Kundalini energy. Sometimes your spirit guides can tell you completely, right? Maybe to avoid meat at a certain time. Right, this is all for a reason. Okay. Fasting. Getting into the habit of fasting. All right. Fasting is not just a concept, guys. That's in the Bible. And there are certain processes that get activated in the body, right, during a fast. So practicing fasting regularly is also an essential practice. This is all part of the preparatory phase. So as you can imagine, activating the Kundalini energy is not for the faint-hearted. You understand? It's a journey that requires a lot of discipline. And if you are an undisciplined person, you're going to fail at getting there. Because you have to practice self-restraint, all right? Things like engaging in sexual activity is a no-no. You understand? For a certain period of time. All right, because remember, the feminine energy, the divine feminine energy, is also linked to the sexual energy. All right, so retaining your sexual energy will help you to move up the chakras, right, faster than anything else. Practicing celibacy is important, right, for this energy to rise. So it becomes very tricky and very difficult when you are in a relationship or even if you're married, because practicing celibacy, I would recommend for at least more than 6 months to a year, is essential in helping this energy to rise. So it's a process that requires a lot of discipline. You have to be someone who's disciplined. Sleeping with different people is a no-no. Right. The second stage is what we call the activation stage. So basically, this dormant potential energy is now being awakened, all right? And it's getting transformed into active energy, or what we call this kinetic energy. This is the energy now that is going to start maneuvering. All right. So as I mentioned before, it is very much described as the snake energy. All right. The divine feminine energy. this is what that sensation in this time physically is going to feel like. All right, it's going to feel like a tingling right in your spine. All right, it's going to feel like an unraveling of a serpent of some sort. So when this energy starts unraveling, um you're going to experience a lot of spontaneous movement and things that you didn't even know were possible. Right, within your body. All right, because this energy is now, being unleashed, more especially when you're trying to meditate or you are very deeply engaged maybe in prayer. This is how you get to sort of awaken the energy. The next phase of, or the next stage of the Kundalini awakening is the Ascension stage. How do I know that I'm in the Ascension stage, and how do I know which stage I'm in? This is a stage when you personally feel yourself vibrating in a different frequency. You are going to feel the rising of this energy on your spine, very much like what is a serpent, right, moving up your spine. Um, this will only get awakened, right, when you start becoming disciplined and having, a sense of king guys. Yeah, but basically it's all about the discipline and having discipline, right, within yourself and your spiritual practice, right, and keeping yourself clean. All right, this is the Ascension stage. We are moving, right, in terms of frequency. In the spiritual world, it's all about the levels, right? You're moving energetically, you're moving in terms of consciousness. So in the stage, it is very likely now where some of the abilities that you didn't even know existed are going to become very apparent to you. All right, because your psychic abilities are going to awaken. Um, for example, you think of something, right, or you think of someone, and your thoughts are going to become very active during this time. You think of someone, and 5 minutes later, that person has messaged you. All right, on your phone. All right, so your psychic abilities become heightened. You're going to experience a lot of synchronicities, if you haven't been experiencing them before. Seeing angelic numbers 10, 10, 12, 12. All right, this is all confirmation that energetically and vibrationally, all right, you are moving up in terms of the energy spectrum. All right, you're going to become someone who just knows without even knowing how you know, right? Certain things. All right, this is all part of the activation. Is a phase where you now start trusting your abilities, right? You now start realizing your abilities that you didn't know were even possible. All right. Your intuition at this stage is very heightened. Like I said, you know things that you don't know how you know how you even know them, right? Remember, we are all ascending, all right, to the divine consciousness. And it is during the activation stage that you might discover certain things. All right, you might be connecting with this divine feminine energy, or the divine feminine energy is will now become apparent. All right, um right, through dreams you might see mystical things, because we are now lifting the energy, and we're moving up, right, in terms of vibration. So a lot of different, unquote, weird things might happen, all right, during this time. Which brings us into the next stage of awakening, is the stabilization phase. In this phase, this energy, right, is now able to move freely. You won't have difficulty per se in awakening the energy, right, like you did before in the initial stage. The energy is moving freely and you're able to connect, right, a little bit more effortlessly during this stage, which then brings you to the last stage of the awakening, which is the enlightenment stage. The enlightenment stage, right, is described as the last stage, right, in the Kundalini energy rising, which is the stage that we all aspire to go to or be in. And it is at this stage, all right, where you start seeing the world in a different phase. You start realizing that you become one, right, with the earth, that you are one, right, with the birds and the bees and the butterflies. You are one with the water, the soil, the fire. You are one basically with forces of nature. You are one with, you know, the Indians that are in your family, right? You are one with the Chinese that you made friends with, right? Because in the spiritual world, we are all spirits, and spirit is one, all right? There is no color, there's no race, but we are all just energy beings having a human experience. This is a point in time when you start making peace with what the reality of life is, all right? And you start having peace, right, within yourself. Remember, in the initial stages, you were going through a purging. So at this last stage, whether you are broke or you have money makes no difference, all right? Because it is also at this stage where you realize that the kingdom of God is within you, right? The kingdom of God is not found in some building out there, right? Whether it's a temple or a church, right? Those places are places that help us to get to, help us. I didn't say they get us to. They try to help us to get to this level of consciousness, all right? Some of them. They become important, right, in the spiritual practice. But essentially, you then begin to realize that God is within you. The God energy has always been, right, within you. It's a place where you just make peace. The things that used to irritate you before don't irritate you anymore. And for you to get to this stage of awakening, remember we would have balanced the chakras. And balancing the chakras is not easy, right? You're someone who in life, you're going to go through a lot of purging. And purging comes with pain, you know. You're going to experience painful events, whether it is through breakups, people constantly leaving you, deaths, right, of family members that might affect you. It is not, all right, for the faint of heart. It is all part, all right, of opening up that heart chakra, all right, and aligning with the highest energy, which is the divine feminine energy that resides within you. So, all right, I know this is a long video, but I hope that I've sort of done some justice to it. And remember that eating well and living well is a form of self-respect, So respect yourself by all costs. I hope I have shared some love and light, and I hope to help others, all right, on their spiritual journeys and their spiritual awakenings. Like I said, if you want to get a hold of me, I can leave my contacts somewhere in the description. I do not have a Facebook page. I don't have a TikTok page that is a spiritual page. It is my personal TikTok page, and you will not find my teachings right on that specific TikTok page. So the only way to contact me is to ask for me. All right. Thokozani ebukhosini. Ndawuwe, shalom, lesekhanya, shewe, ashe, bonkhulu bontatemogolo. Till next time.